Well, hello and welcome to Antique Needleworkers. My name is Shellie, and this is my channel about cross stitch and all my crafty endeavors, and I welcome you here today. If this is your first time here, I thank you so much for stopping by. And if you're a return subscriber, thank you for coming time and time again. Well, hello, my friends. I'm so happy to be back. It's been about 2.5 weeks, and I have, I think, a pretty good amount to show you. And I'm excited to talk to you about some things that are coming up and show you some things I've been working on, tell you all about the guild day that was here, and show you some stash enhancements. And so, yes, I'm so glad that you've joined me. So, okay, so since I saw you last, I had told you there was a Stitching in the Mill day with Shellie with the Queen City Sampler Guild, and it was a lovely event. There was probably, I'd say, about 24, 25 people here, and it was glorious. There were people who came from other states, and I couldn't even believe that. I was just so honored that people would want to come that far to come here and join me. And so everybody arrived. We had a stitch time, and I surprised everybody. I created a pattern for them, and also I brought out my museum box of unframed antique samplers, and I showed them that. And then I gave them a tour of my working office. It's not the studio up here. I call it headquarters. And it's my office where I chart and do all of my office work and do all my shipping and all of the things. And so the office has samplers on the wall from ceiling to floor on every wall, and even one over the door. So I took them over there and got to show them that. And I think everybody really enjoyed theirself. There were people there were so many. I'm sitting amongst the gifts. It was a gift enough that everyone came, but people brought me gifts, and I thought that was so kind. I'll tell you a few. Janine McFarling, she brought me something I can't show you. She brought me the most beautiful vase of beautiful cut flowers. It was just lovely. And then people just came along and they were like, Shellie, I brought you a gift. This neat packaging. Now I've messed it up a little bit because I took the bow off the one end. This came from Holly, from Hobbies of Holly, and I put it back together the best I could, minus the ribbon down on this end, because I thought that Holly did such a neat job with such a hard to wrap item. But what's in here? She took a piece of fabric, which I'm going to keep and reuse, and then she took some bulb pins and just simply closed it and then put 2 ties on the end. And what she brought me was some Legacy Fiber Arts sock yarn, which was very exciting. I absolutely love Legacy Fiber Arts sock yarn. I love their yarn. I love it when and I'm very excited that they're now again doing linen. So they do such a good job. And so Holly brought me a gift of some yarn. It feels like there's something in the end down here. Maybe it's just the fabric. Let me just double check in case I missed something. It's just the fabric. It's just the fabric. Okay, so anyway, Holly brought me yarn for sock knitting. One nice person brought me this tomato, and it is a salt shaker. Now, I have a salt shaker that's used for the same purpose, but they said to me, do you know what you do with the tomato salt shaker other than just sit it with your tomato collection and make it look pretty? And I said, I think I do, because Miss Kathy Lounsbury from the So-and-Sos gave me a gift one year. That was a salt shaker, and you do the same with it. So you can either use it as a repository for your old needles that are bent or broken, or you can put needles in there and then you can shake them out. So if you have a vintage or a new salt shaker, that's a really neat gift to give somebody. So that was really great because I have a whole tomato collection in 2 different parts of the studio. And so I'm really excited to put that out. And then let me put that down. I'll be up and down again today. What's new? Okay, and then another lady, she brought me this, and it says Orts, and it's an Ort container, and she is a Cricut maker, and she made this. But what's so neat is you open the lid, and there is the frog. And it's not only just a regular frog, it is a glow-in-the-dark frog. So the frog stays in your Ort jar. So, you know, pun intended. So anyway, so that was a neat gift. And then someone else brought me a sweet pad and paper that says, "For with God, nothing shall be impossible." Luke 1:37. Actually, it was Vicky Kuhn from the Guild brought me that. And then Holly, she brought her favorite needles for everyone in a little glass container and put some of her favorite needles in there. As well, I had missed one of the events where the 30th anniversary chart was brought to us, and so they brought me my goodies and my chart, and it was put together by Plum Street. It's called Upon My Heart, and I happen to love it because it has a shepherdess and sheep. But Paulette put this together for the Queen City Sampler Guild to celebrate our 30th anniversary. Another thing is they had bling made for your floss. And then as well, a little, this, and it has the little charm because we're the Queen City Sampler Guild, so we have to have our crown, you know. And so that came. And then Anne Mienzo, I hope I pronounced your name right, Anne. She brought me this gift, and it was, she stitched a little sheep on a needle bling, a thread bling. Is that not sweet? I love that. And then the recovering monogamous stitcher made me a bag and brought that. I mean, look at all these sweet gifts. Like, nobody needed to do anything, and that was just so kind. And then this was the card that Janine brought with the flowers, and it's just pretty. I love it. And so those were some of the things that were brought to me from people that came and participated. Oh, I've got 2 more things. I'm so sorry. They're over here. They're over with the haul, and they were in bags. I got a project bag. I think there's something else in here. Oh yeah, it's the card. And it was brought to me by Maureen. Very sweet. Love that. Who doesn't need like 1,000,000 new project bags? I'm just saying. And then Ellen Chester, my dear sweet friend, she is actually the programs, her and Sue Bradford are the programs directors for the Guild for this year. And she brought me a lovely sampler apron. So I've got a sampler apron. I have some towels that she gave me too. So now my kitchen's decked out. And then she brought me a beautiful, lovely card. And so that was the things that were brought to me at the Guild Day. And like I said, we had lunch, we stitched together. Everybody was here from 10 o'clock in the morning until like 4 in the afternoon. People walked around the property and got to see it. One of the things that I got repeatedly from people was, you know, it looks one way on camera, but you just can't imagine it in person. And so I was really excited that people enjoyed it and thought it was beautiful. It's, you know, it's it's my pride and joy out here. And so I love that I could share that with everyone, and then just go over and show them all my samplers in person, and then take them to my office. And I think that people got to know me a little more that maybe didn't know me other than on camera. And I really enjoyed that. It was a wonderful, wonderful day. And so anyway, well, the next thing I think I'd like to do is, on the last video, I had 2 giveaways. And one were for some Jersey Girl Stitch Co. pins. I had 5 different sets. And they would go, this is the called for pin that was made for my Be Ye Brave. And then they made some bit of blings. And then another pin set that was called 1776. That's a little even more dressy. That would go beautifully with my Be Ye Brave or any of your patriotic things. And so I had 5 people that could win these. And then I had 4 chickens from my little chickens that I showed you. And so those were the giveaways from last time. And the winners of these, first, the pins with 5 winners. That would be Sandra Adams 2677. Sandra Adams 2677, you're the first winner. Rose Heck 9841. Rose Heck 9841. And Karen Frank 6597. Karen Frank 6597. Heather Anderson 5668. Heather Anderson 5668. And Sharon Robinson 9958. Sharon Robinson 9958. You are the winners of the pins for your pin cushions from Jersey Girl Stitch Co. If you will give me an email at my email, you will find that down in the link below. And if you will give me an email and tell me exactly what you won, and give me your name and your address, I'll be glad to get those right out to you. Congratulations. And then the 4 winners of the little chicken pin cushions are Glee Hansen 4775, Glee Hansen 4775, Caroline Carlson 8181, that's Caroline Carlson 8181, Brooke Reedy 4155, Brooke Reedy 4155, and Leslie Gray 2949, Leslie Gray 2949. You are the winners of the little baby chickens. And if you will do the same, send me an email, give me your name, your address, and what you have won. Don't forget to do that, because there are 9 things here. So I want to make sure that the right thing gets to the right recipient. If you'll send those over to me, I'll get those right out to you. And I appreciate you so much for joining in. It's a lot of fun. I love reading all the comments. And congratulations to you for being the winners from the giveaway. I will also put the names down below in the description box of this video, so that you know exactly who won. And so anyway, that is the giveaway. All right, let me pack this up because I want to make sure everything stays together and I clear out my space. Well, I also received some snail mail and the P.O. box, and I wanted to share that with you here. I received from Sue Bradford, I received a sweet card. Thank you, Sue Bradford. And as well, I received a Mother's Day card from my sweet friend, Lady Huzzah, Lisa Duffin. A Mother's Day card from her. Thank you, sweet friend. I appreciated that. And then I received something from Karen Meadows, and I believe she's one of the makers. It didn't come with a note with it, but this is from Two Old Sisters. Now, they have a Facebook and an Instagram account. It's the number 2, OLE Sisters, Two Old Sisters. They sent me this project bag. And not only did they send the project bag, but they sent a little notions pouch. This sweet, you could use this for ords, you could use this for your things. It's a little pouch to sit at your stitching area. And then they made me a pair of scissor keepers. So thank you so much, Karen, for sending this. It was such a surprise. I got a notification in my post office box. I went up there and opened it up, and if it's too big for the little P.O. box, they put a key or a little note in there. And I had to go up 2 times because they put me a note in there one time, and then nobody was, it was closed when I went back and checked. And then I went back again, and they had put a key in my P.O. box for the bigger box. So I'm sorry, she sent this last month sometime. And so I'm sorry that took me so long, Karen, to acknowledge it, but I appreciate you so much. It's very well made, and it's so pretty. I love this giant rickrack, and I thank you so much for thinking about me. You viewers, you, my friends, my sweet friends, you are all so kind. Totally not necessary to do anything like that, but very much appreciated. I just thank you for thinking of me. It's so kind of you. Okay, so let's move on, and I'll show you what I've been stitching. I will tell you, you know, model stitching just really keeps me hopping. But in the last 2.5 weeks, I have some things to show you that I've got done, and I work on stuff other than my models, but I have 2 projects that are not stitching related. I will show them after I show my stitching related things. First up is in this little pouch that it's just so cute, and this was made by Starlight Stitch Co, and she does a really good job. And you can't, this is my Tanya Brockmeyer bag, I call it, because it's filled with Tanya. This is a project that is next on the Tanya list. Home is where my samplers are. That's not what I'm going to show you because I haven't started it yet, but it's in there. But inside this one is Charlotte Murdoch 1815. I bought this when this is holding my threads. I bought this pattern when I went out for my Life as a Sampler 2 to Hobby House to the retreat, and I was shopping over at the shop. And, you know, I just love the dogs. I have 2 little Chihuahuas. I am in love with them. They are my little fur babies. And I saw this, and I just had to buy it. I bought everything there. I'm using all of the called for threads except for one. And that is, it called for Weeks Dye Works mascara, but they must have been out of mascara because I bought everything for this at Hobby House. So I have black licorice in here from the Gentle Arts Simply Shaker. So I'm sure that they had to have been out because there's no reason why I would have picked that otherwise, but I'm sure they're restocked by now. So, but anyway, I'm stitching this with 1 thread over 2 linen threads on Picture This Plus 36 count Legacy. And this is how far I have gotten. Look at this little sweet border up here. It's just so light and wispy. This is going to look very antique. It's very wrinkled. I apologize. Yes, it's wrinkled, but it's got hoop marks on it and everything. So, but this is how far I have got on Charlotte Murdoch. It is a sweet little sampler. I will tell you that down here on this line, this end was supposed to be Cinnamon Toast, and the P was supposed to be the Holly Green. And I'll tell you what happened. This was sitting on my lap, and my threads were sitting on top of it like this. And I could see the symbol right there. And but it was one up from it, and I don't know. So as Jean Lee says, always forward, never going back. So the N got stitched in the wrong color and the P got stitched in the wrong color. It was supposed to be Cinnamon Toast, which is the P, and the P was supposed to be the N color, the holly. So mine is just in reversed order. This sampler is not going to be very big at all. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to stitch it down to this row of dogs, and I'm going to do the border underneath it down here where her name and that little border is down there. I'm not stitching that at all. I'm not going to put my name or anything on it. I'm just going to have it to here, just like that. And it will be the sweetest, tiniest little cute sampler. I mean, it only goes from here to here, see? And it's only going to be a few more inches long. And I think that it's going to just look really sweet. It looks really antique in this. So I worked on that. I started that and got to that point on that. 1 thread over 2 linen threads. Did I say that? Okay, well, I just did. So 36 count, picture this plus, and that is Legacy. Okay, so I worked on that. And then, I'm going to save this to talk to you about this in a minute. I have 2. You know, I keep my carry keepers filled. So there's stuff on both sides. Okay, this is in one of my carry keepers. I showed you this last time. Love it. Best keepers in town. Okay, this is the Friends Are the Flowers Friendship Sampler 2021 from Mill on the Floss Samplers. I am stitching this with my sweet friends, Lorraine Rowe, Robin Gibbons, and Michelle Pilgrim. And I showed you this last time. This is such a fun, sweet sampler. I just love it. I love these little girls. I just love everything about this. Who doesn't love a red house? And, you know, stitching it with, no, it's not called for. I'm stitching it with flower threads. That was a conversion that the girls did. I'm going to hold this up here, right here, like I did last time. Take a screenshot, stop the video, whatever you need to do. These are the DMCs that were listed in the chart. And this over here is the flower conversion that the girls did. They did this already. And, okay, you got it? All right. Now, and they're just so pretty. I love flower threads. Stitching this on 32 count. Oh, I have a needle and a thread. Let me pull the needle out so I can pick this up. I am stitching this on 32 count needle and flax dirty teacup. Do ignore my hanging thread. I brought the border. It was about, well, it was right to here. You can see because I brought it up and over, and what I was doing the last time was filling in my flowers. That's why I have this hanging red thread. So this is page 1, the corner page. I started in the bottom. I told this last time because I wanted the girls to put their initials in the garden down there. So I brought it from here up and over, and I've just got to fill in the flowers. And then, you know, the first half of the border on the right-hand side is done. So I worked on that. And I'm using 1 flower thread over 2 linen threads. Very, very beautiful chart. Love this, love this, love this. This is so much fun. And that is a stitch along that I am trying to keep up with and work diligently on. Okay, and then I have another carry keeper. Oh, isn't that pretty? I love it. Every carry keeper is just so pretty. I mean, you can't love one more than the next. I've got a little hair or something on my nose. I'm so sorry. Itchy, itchy. Okay, the next thing that I worked on, my sweet friend, Jackie from Comfort Stitching, If you did not see, Jackie had her 1-year anniversary and she did a video and it was so sweet. And I've already spoken to her and congratulated her in person and on social media. But right here, I'm going to say again, Jackie, I'm so glad that you hopped in and that you became a floss tuber. You have brought comfort to us over the last year and we just love you and thank you so much. And congratulations again, my friend. Well, on her video, she showed one of her whips, which is from the Stitchy Box Samplers, and it's the Beatrix Potter Quaker Sampler. This is beautiful, had it, and I even have the accompanying chart that goes with this. But she showed it in her progress. Just, I couldn't say no to her progress. So I went and got my pattern out. And this calls for 2 colors. And they are a Veriswa 4612 and Blanc or DMC 356 in white. But Jackie had this great idea and I am following suit. What she did was she went and grabbed from, she had silks, cottons, overdyes, DMCs, everything. And she picked from her gold threads. And it was just so pretty. So I wanted mine all to be in silk. So here's what I did. I went to my belle soies and I grabbed these belle soies. I went to my soie d'Alger's and I grabbed these golds, and you see even this one, this is like, these are like dark tarnished antique golds. And then I went to my 103s and I chose these golds, very dusty, dirty looking golds, a very modest gold, a very bronzy gold, and a goldy gold. And so I chose all of these because, like Jackie, I am going to just choose where it leads me as I'm going, and I'm going to just stitch all the golds and do all of these different Quaker motifs. I have always loved Quakers, and you know that. But let's look at this. So, I mean, it's like a win every time that you do one, and to see all the golds together will be so much fun. And you have got to go watch Comfort Stitching and see Jackie's, and then you will see what I'm talking about, where she's taking the different colors and doing one whole Quaker motif in just one color and moving on and just pulling them at random and making a beautiful thing of beauty. And so I am doing like Jackie did. I'm doing mine on 46 count, and I'm using, this is Zweigart Cream 46 count. And since the other day, I got started and I got 2 motifs in. And it's just a lot of fun. I love Quakers. I'll tell you why. And this is the method to the madness with me when it comes to a Quaker. Quakers are symmetrical. So you're gonna go through and, you know, it's 3 over 3 down, 3 over 3 down, 3 over 3 down, 11, 9, 7. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, it becomes very comfortable to stitch. And I think when I go to StitchCon, I am taking another piece with me, but I think it's in this folder. So I think this is going to be what I take to StitchCon, because it's, you know, maybe I'll get some stitching done because it's rhythmic and it doesn't have, you know, you can do a whole motif in one color. So you're not going, you know, okay, switching to this color, switching to that color. So anywho, 46 count Zweigart Cream linen, 1 thread over 2 linen threads. And I've enjoyed that start. I started that over the weekend, last weekend, and I had a good time putting those 2 motifs in. And then the last piece of stitching that I worked on, we're gonna have story time right now. So get your coffee because we're gonna talk. I'm gonna talk a lot before I even show it to you. Okay, back before market, there was a release that was coming out, and I was extraordinarily, very, extremely excited about it. You know, there are pieces, I've been stitching a long time. And there are pieces around my home. There are pieces that are out in the wild that I've given as gifts that have really meant a lot to me, that have a lot of significance. I'm emotionally drawn to things. I'm not, and when I say emotionally drawn, it's not, sometimes it's just like, oh, I want to stitch that too. But really there's a draw to it. There's something that says, Shellie, I want you to stitch me. And so I will say this, there's nothing like a Hands Across the Sea sampler. Nicola Parkman, there's nothing that house of samplers puts out that I will never not love. I love them. The Scarlet House. There will never be anything like a Needlework press. There will be nothing like Beloved from Running with Needles and Scissors. There are things that are my favorite things, and I will say that repeatedly, but I'm going to tell you, this is my favorite thing that I have ever, I'm so emotionally attached to this piece. I was emotionally attached to it when I saw it as a release, before I ever had the pattern in my hand, before I ever had linen, before anything. I was emotionally attached to it. I understood the story with it, and the designer who designed this has no idea, but this is a sampler that if someone were to come and interview me or know me or talk to me, and they specifically charted something that said, this is Shellie Fry, it's this chart right here. And it's by Cosford Rise, and Kelly, who is the designer behind Cosford Rise. I was so sad for her, and I have continued to this day to pray for her. She didn't make it to market, and this did not get released at market because her mother died. And so she had to, first of all, she was grieving, and then all of the things that went along with that. And so I had looked so forward to meeting her because I wanted to go to her at market and sit with her and say, Kelly, I don't even know if she even knows who I am, first off. But second off, I wanted to say to her, if you have no idea that you stitched my life in a sampler, and I've never seen anything that for me is more me in every sense of the word. And I'm going to dissect this sampler right here, right now, because it is so meaningful to me. It's Cicada Song Sampler. And some of you might say, oh, is it because of the mill? Well, the mill was the first draw. That was the very first thing, was the mill house that drew me. But then I learned more and more in looking at it, zooming in on it, and all of the above. One of the things that I'm going to read you from the inside, it says, this sampler was inspired by my childhood in Arkansas. Arkansans and fans of Gone with the Wind may recognize the old mill. Look for figs, watermelons, possums, and raccoons. They are a few of my favorite things. Okay, so let me just tell you right now, there is so much in this. First of all, my pride and joy is this mill. I love this mill. My husband built this, and it is connected to my home, and it's all one house, but this is like a house in and of itself. And my studios are out here. I have a giant kitchen downstairs that I work in all the time. It was a labor of love. For 5 years, we built this. We collected antiques for years. My antique collection sits out here. And so, yes, the mill part of this was ginormous, but there are funny things that you're going to learn about Shellie right now, and why this sampler speaks to me. First of all, I love flowers, and you can tell that in my designs that I design myself. I love flowers. I'm a gardener, and I garden flowers and vegetables. Love that. One of the flowers inside of this sampler are cotton blooms, and you can find them down here. You can find them up here. There's cotton blooms all over this thing. Well, the Florida house that we just bought is not my first Florida house. I have had 3 other Florida houses, and the very first Florida house that we bought was in Navarre. And going home to the Florida house, when we would go back and forth, we would have to go through the backside of Alabama. And I don't know if you have ever seen a field full of cotton in full bloom. And I don't mean when it's drying and the bolls are preparing to be harvested for, even though that's very beautiful too. But a full bloomed cotton field looks like miles and miles of white roses. It's one of my favorite things in the world, is to drive through and see beautiful cotton fields. I was going to bring it over here and I didn't, but over in the spinning loft, I have this big glass jar filled. It's like this big. It's a big round jar, and it's filled with cotton. Now, here's one of those FYIs that you didn't know about me. So I can't tell you how many times I said to my husband going through Alabama, "Stop the car, stop the car. I got to jump out. I got to pick some of that cotton." Yes. I didn't even think about this all those years ago until I was preparing for this video, but I guess I just told you I was a cotton thief. Didn't think about it that way back in the day, but I can't tell you how many times I said, "Jerry, stop the car. I need to go out and pick some of the cotton." Did I think about the rattlesnakes that could be out there? No, I didn't. I just would jump out of the car and go to the edge of the cotton field, and I collected cotton, just not much, just handfuls at a time. And the very first time I did it, my thought was, I'm going to take this home, because you can spin cotton right off the bowl, the ball. It's called a bowl. And so you can spin it right off there. And so I thought, I'm just going to grab a couple bowls of cotton and take them home and spin them. And then it became a thing when we would pass the cotton fields. I would be like, "Can you just stop so I can just grab one?" And so I have a jar that I've saved that are untainted, dried bowls of cotton that I've saved. And it just makes my heart stop when I see those fields there. You see the majesty and the beauty of God's creation when you see them. And so there's cotton bowls through the flowers of this. Up in this very top corner, which is, you're going to see, I started up here. There's a possum hanging in a tree. Funny Fry family fact. Over the backyard, through the woods, through the trail, is my mother-in-law's house. She's lived there since 1967. And she's been a widow since 1991. She was 42 when she became a widow. And she has lived there all by herself all this time. Well, I think the possums in the woods between our house, I think there's a rogue mama back there that likes to have babies, but she doesn't like to be a mama. And I cannot tell you how many possum babies have been laid at my mother-in-law's backyard. And she is an animal lover, and she'll feed them. And so I have to make her stop feeding the nature, because she attracts the critters that want to come and eat my chickens. And my barn is between her property and mine. And so sometimes I have to go give her the, "Mom, please stop feeding the wildlife. They're eating my chickens." But long story short, my mother-in-law, over I can't tell you, 5 years, a possum would bring its baby and take it to her back door, and she couldn't leave the little possum out there to die. So she would take and nurse these baby possums, and then take them to get the possum rescue people to come and take it. Well, the very last time that this happened, she had a possum, and its name was Possy. Possy, my husband loved this possum. He would go visit his mom and sit this baby possum on its shoulder, and he would feed it. grapes and candy and all this stuff. Well, his possum grew to be like this big. Mom bought a chicken enclosure for it. She had a nighttime enclosure inside the house. She would bring it. It was very clean. She would bring Posse in and tuck it in. And I mean, she cooked food for this thing. But it was a couple years old before the possum rescue could find somebody who took the possum. So anyway, a Fry family funny is, you know, my poor mother-in-law raised, she went through this phase where like all these possums. So that's where I started, was in that corner, and every single stitch, all I could think of was my husband and my mother-in-law and possums and how even the possum related to me. There are moss trees in this, throughout this. There's where the possum is. And another Fry Shellie fact is that first house we bought in Navarre, Florida, was 2.5 acres on the water, and you went down this driveway. It was on Falconhurst Place, was the name of the private drive, and there were moss trees going all the way down, and it was just wow. And so we loved them. And you know, if you know anything about moss trees, it's like a virus. It's about, you know, a fungus that gets on a tree, but it doesn't grow up north. But my husband loved it so much. So every time we would come from the Florida house to the Ohio house, he would pack garbage bags full of moss, and he lined the trees down the Ohio house driveway with moss. And people would come and they'd say, "How'd you get that moss to grow? I mean, it's just amazing. It's so beautiful." And he's like, "Well, it won't grow. It dies." And he said, "But I bring it from my Ohio house and I decorate my trees." So as you're going around this sampler, there's water, there's a mill, there's a beautiful butterfly, and you know me and butterflies if you've watched for any amount of time and you know the story about the butterflies. There's flowers, there's possums, and then there's a raccoon, okay? I have a love-hate relationship with raccoons, and yes, I'm an animal lover, and you know that. I have sheep, I have goats, I have chickens. I grew up on a horse farm. I showed dairy cattle. My daughter saved everything that was ever ailing. One time she had a one-eyed mouse that the one-eyed mouse made it its way into my house, and we found it because it was one-eyed and it would stumble around. So she raised a one-eyed mouse that tried to come in and eat my goods inside my house. But listen, when raccoons come and they try to kill my chickens, there's a Smith & Wesson for that. I'm sorry. And I know that, I hope that doesn't diminish your thoughts towards me, but if you kill my chickens, we have a problem. So I love raccoons and they're cute. As a matter of fact, all winter long, my cameras on property caught a raccoon that would come out of the woods. It would not go in the barnyard. It would come all the way out to the mill pond, drink water out of the mill pond because it was moving. So even if it was frozen, it could find water, which I was really thrilled about. And then I would watch it scamper through all the different camera shots back to the woods. And so that's okay. And so I would never harm anything that wasn't harming my animals. So there's raccoons in here. There's flowers. There's the mill. Just everything about this sampler just warms my heart. And there's a cardinal on here. Long story short, my dad died in 2007, and for 6 months I grieved for about a year. I grieved so hard you probably wouldn't have recognized me, but in that 6 months, every single day, the cardinal bird came and knocked on my front door, and I kid you not, I have a glass front door on the main house, and it would knock on this door and knock on this door and knock on this door. And it would not stop until I would walk over, open the front door, look it right in the eye and say, "Good morning, Cardinal, you can go now." And it would go, and it wouldn't come back till the next morning. Now, some people believe all kinds of things. I don't think it was a relative. I don't think it was my dad, but I do think God will use anything, including his creation, to remind us that I hear you, I see you, I recognize you. And to me, the whole cardinal thing, you know, it's blood red, and it reminded me of Jesus. And so for 6 months, every single day, without stop, that happened. My friend in Florida at the same time, her dad died very close to mine. Same thing happened to her. Every year we do this thing, me and Vic, we send each other Christmas presents. We have one of everything that's cardinal because we try to outdo each other who can send the most cardinals to each other in a different fashion. One year I got pajamas, slippers, socks, I mean, all kind of stuff. So cardinals are really important to me because I really felt like for 6 months, the Lord said to me, listen, I'm right here. I know you hurt. And so that's on there. Blue jays are on there. Just beautiful things, and the fact that there's watermelons and figs, and I actually grow a fig tree in my greenhouse. It's as if Kelly took and said, Shellie, I'm going to tell your story in stitches. And now let's have a maker's moment. Okay, we tell stories in stitches. What is it that we stitch that we want to say about ourselves? I just have to say, as a maker's moment today, as a stitcher, find something and tell your story. I was thinking about this and reflecting about this. I got this chart just recently because it wasn't available, and I would jump on it occasionally and see if it was available, and then I would wait some time, and the last time I jumped on, there it was. I was in such shock. I was so excited, and I ordered it, and funny enough, I was sitting on the front porch, and funny enough, this year we've got cicadas in Ohio again, and they were humming. And I actually like the sound of cicadas. And the other day when I heard that, I thought, oh, yes, I got that in. I need to go kit it up. So I ran and I kitted it up. And I sat down and I began to stitch. And I was thinking about all the things on this sampler and the fact of how I connected so deeply with it. And I was reflecting back to the retreat that I just was the designer for. And I said something that I feel genuinely and deeply about. And that is the samplers that I'm reproducing. When I reproduce a sampler, although these girls can't speak yet, they speak all these years later. And so I want to, in this maker's moment, encourage you, find something that tells your story. As I was giving my dissertation basically about the young lady who I knew nothing about, of my sampler that I had reproduced and taken to Prairie Moon Primitives, I said, what is it that she was trying to say? Though she can't speak, yet I believe she's still speaking, because I felt so strongly about the motifs and the things that she chose on that sampler to put. I feel like Kelly did that in this sampler, and she doesn't even know me personally, probably, maybe, who knows. But I feel so connected, and I didn't even design this. And somebody told my story so well, and you could learn so much about me. There's a quilt motif, a Lemoyne star on there. I love stars on a quilt, and I'm a quilter. There's the butterfly, there's the fruit, including one that I grow in my garden. There's flowers, there's water, there's a mill. There's the funny story about the possums in my family. There's the things about raccoons. There's so much on this. I thought of my husband so much with that moss tree, and this is telling my story. But what are you stitching that tells your story? One day we won't be here. So my maker's moment is, make something and tell your story, because though you won't be able to speak, yet you'll speak, and let your stitching tell your story. Maybe you create something and pull motifs together and create yourself something. Maybe you connect deeply like I did with Cicada Song. I'm a designer. I didn't design this, but nobody told my story about my life more than Kelly did in this sampler. And I know that there's got to be one out there. And when you do, I want you to stitch it, and then I want you to write something and put it on the back of it and tell, so in posterity, through stitches and your own words, you can show how your stitching told your story and leave a story behind. Because makers, listen, this maker's moment, for just this quick little second, there are things that we're leaving behind, but leave something specific that tells your story, because inquiring minds are going to want to know, and there's going to be another designer somewhere down the line if Jesus doesn't return quickly and you're not here, and they're going to pick it up and they're going to want to tell your story. So leave your story in stitches and put the story on the back. That way we can tell your story later when somebody reproduces something you stitched. And that's important because we're leaving our mark. We're being creative. You know, God was a creative God, and there's a whole, all Genesis, the beginning of Genesis. You know, you go through the first couple chapters and we're just acting like our Heavenly Father in being creative. And so I want to leave you with that as a maker's moment, as I'm telling you about a new start and something that is so genuinely special to me, something that I want to, Kelly, if you see this, you have no idea what you did for me. And I thank you so much. This piece means so much to me. And even, I mean, I've been stitching since I was a teenager, and I don't think I've as carefully placed stitches, or maybe, I mean, I carefully place stitches. I mean, you know, I stitch models for my designs all the time, but I have connected with this so much. It's like, there's something so special about this, and I don't have a lot done on it. I'm using every one of the called for colors. I'm doing it on the called for fabric. I'm doing it exactly the way that Kelly made it, because I feel like she wrote my story. Now I'm going to stitch my story. And so again, it's Cicada's story. I'm stitching it on 36 count vintage country mocha, one thread over 2 linen threads. The maker's moment, stitch your story, people, and write your story on the back of it, because people want to know. And I think it's important that we stitchers do that and make it something that you connect with so deeply. And I know that we all have that piece. Maybe it's something that just talks about where we're at in life, or maybe it's like this, it's just a whole piece that's telling the story. But do that. But anyway, you want to see it? So here's where I'm at. I started in this corner on purpose because there's a cotton bloom here. I got the moss tree in. Here's the little possum. Another fun connecting fact is that in this moss that's hanging down, there's 2 colors, and one of the colors is olive. Well, funny enough, you know, I talk about my grandmother that we didn't call grandma, we called her honey, my grandma. Her name was Olive. And so every little stitch of the secondary color in the in that moss tree, I thought of my grandmother. Do you see this? It's just so cathartic, so connected. I'm so connected to this. I love this sampler so much. There are so many samplers that I love and that will never be second to anything. But this is my favorite sampler of all time. All time. Nothing, I don't think anything is ever going to come next to it. And it's because of what it means to me. And it's just, I've connected with it that deeply. Boy, I took a lot of time to tell you about that, didn't I? But it just, I hope that one day you have a piece that does that for you. Kelly, thank you for doing that for me. I thought of Jackie a lot because, you know, she was talking about the meaningfulness, the mindfulness. She talks about that on a regular basis on her channel. And I just really have not had a piece. I love so many things. So many things mean things to me. I've done things that I've put together myself that mean things to me, but it's like my story in stitches. I didn't even have to tell it. Somebody else did it for me. So I love this. I love this piece so much. It is going to StitchCon with me, and I will be stitching on Cicada's song when I'm at StitchCon, and I love it so much. And can you believe that I was sitting on the porch and the cicadas in the yard reminded me I had just gotten it? And so, yeah, there it is. 1 thread over 2 linen threads, Cicada song by Cosford Rise. Do get on and get yourself a copy. It is absolutely gorgeous. And I do want to say now, you know, I have Kathy Barrick's mill. I was, you know, the minute Kathy Barrick's mill came out, everybody was like, Shellie, you need to get that and stitch it. So I do have it, and it's in my whips. I have Little House Needleworks, anything that's been a mill, including a ginormous, oh, my mind just went blank. Okay, I'll remember it in a minute. But I have any mill that I've ever seen, I've bought it to stitch. But this mill means so much to me because it's more than just the mill house. It's the whole package. I will tell you this much. I do plan on charting my own mill here, and I'm going to have my own mill design one day, and it'll look just like mill. Nobody has designed one that looks at dimensions. That was it. Thank you, Jesus. I remember. Digressing, yeah, the big dimensions mill. I mean, it's like a full coverage. Yeah, that'll take me a lifetime. I've got it in needlepoint and in cross stitch. But back to what I was saying, I am going to make my own pattern one day, and it's going to be of my mill. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But you know, my husband named our house. So actually our property has a name. It's not just Shellie's Mill. My husband and his mother, they are willow tree whisperers. Like, they'll take a branch and stick it in a bucket of water, and it looks like a dead rotting piece of wood, and they'll stick it in the ground, and like months later you have a 25-foot willow tree. And I have willow trees everywhere. My husband's literally named one of our businesses after the name of our house, and it's Willow Hills, because I live at the highest point in all of the county that I live in. And my property is not flat, it's hilly, and there are willow trees everywhere. So when I do create my own pattern, it will be called Willow Hills Gristmill. So one day you will see one of those. But in the meantime, Kelly, you did a great job. I love it. It means so much to me. It's my favorite of all times, of any pattern ever been created, because it means so much to me. It's just like she got in my head, got in my heart, and said, here's Shellie Fry. So anyway, those are all my stitching projects. That was a little maker's moment, encouragement. And I do have 2 more things that I worked on, and they are knitting projects. And I did do a little knitting on my sweater. Last time I showed it to you. Oh my gosh, I really crushed up this pattern. It's this. It is, oh, let me do it this way so you don't see. It's called the Big Comfy Sweater by Red Heart. It is a free pattern. You can get it on Red Heart Yarns, or you can get it on Yarnspiration. It's a totally free pattern. I had 75 rows to go, and some of you in the last video laughed and said, oh, just 75 rows. Well, I'm up to the chest because it's bottom up. I've put in, I don't know, I think I put in 12 rows. So I didn't, you know, I'm really working on a lot of models, and so I was hoping to have this done by the time I saw you, but it's not done. But I got, yeah, like about 12 rows in, and so there you go. And I'm stitching this with, oh my gosh, I told you last time, it's Cascades Peruvian wool yarn. And it's wonderful. It's beautiful. Love it. The whole other piece is done. So this is when that piece is done, it'll look just like this. And it hangs to the middle of my thighs, covers my bum. I think that when the 2 pieces are put together and it's made into a sweater, it's going to be a big, comfy sweater, just like it says. And I could probably wear it with leggings, and it'll be probably my favorite sweater. And so I worked on that. I got about 12 rows in. I have another knitting project, and I showed you the last time that I had just cast it on. It's these strawberry socks. We're going to talk for a minute about these strawberry socks, okay? If you're a novice and you're really not don't pick up this pattern. This is by Novita. It's a beautiful pattern. I'm not a novice. I am a sock knitter, and yeah. There's a whole lot of stuff with this. I love the pattern. It's beautiful. The whole pattern for this is written on one page, okay? So there are some color work charts on the second. No, that's not a second page. No, I blew it up because I had to blow it up. So it comes with this, and then it comes with the directions. That's it. There's an awful lot to talk about on this sock to be on one page. So I was a little, once I started knitting, I was like, eh. I had this sock, and I had cast it on, and I showed it to you last time. I had it on double points, took it off of the double points. When I pulled it completely off the needles and completely ditched it, because it was written, they do not have sizing for anything but a 72 stitch pattern, okay? I'm not a novice. I know that you can change the size. Wished I would have done it. It was huge. And I'm doing it on a size 1 needle. And so there's no reason. I mean, there's only a 0 needle underneath of it. So it shouldn't have been too big. It was just ginormous. Too big. It would have fit a man. Okay, so I completely scrapped it and started again. I'm doing it on magic loop this time, and I'm glad that I did that. I did not want to do, nor do I want to do, color work on a 9-inch circular needle, which is my preferred method of doing the socks. I do them on a 9-inch needle that I take flexi flips and do the toe. And so, but other than that, I had started this on double points, quickly decided that when I scrapped it, it was going to go on to do the loop method. Well, I'm going to show you where I'm at. Very cute, isn't it? I mean, it's just a pretty, pretty pattern. If you have never done color work, get a little color work in before you do this. I'm going to tell you, I'm changing all kind of stuff. I said that I was going to do a heel flap and gusset. I'm not, because I never do. I do my favorite heel, and I'm going to do my favorite heel. The other thing is this color work that's in the gusset right here. I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to do the gusset, okay? So I'm going to do the heel, and I'm going to do the strawberry top, because I don't have any time for trying to adjust and make adjustments for this pattern, because there's just not a lot of detail in this pattern. And I can make these adjustments, but I would not suggest this to a novice sock knitter, okay? So, but this was actually double the size. You do a, this is one of the things that you do with this is you knit so many rows, you get there, and then you're gonna do, you're going to knit 2 together, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, and then you go back into regular knitting. And when you do, then you get to a certain amount, and then you fold it over, and it gives this scallopy, which is very pretty. This is a folded over cuff, and so you do have to catch those stitches when you flip it down to make the cuff. And if you're not familiar with that, you want to probably practice that beforehand. So I've got about it looks like about 7 rows past the cuff. I'm going to get a few more rows in, and then you're all going to be really happy. The reason I'm super happy it's on Magic Loop is because I'm going to be able to do a really close-up video, because I'm going to film my heel. I know so many people have begged and begged and begged and begged and begged. With it being on Magic Loop, I'm going to be able to get really good camera shots instead of being on the 9-inch needles and working on half the stitches to do the heel. My hands would be all in the way, so it's the perfect time. I am going to use this sock, which is I'm a little curmudgeonly about, because I'm a little upset with the pattern, because I really, really, really wanted to do this. But you know what? I'm not going to do anything that is, listen, smarter, not harder. Let's keep it simple. All of the above. I'm all about that. That's why I do my heel that I do, because I never read a sock pattern for the heel. Never. Because I just stop reading the pattern, go to the back 32 stitches because I like a 64 stitch. It fits my foot better. And then I just roll with it. You see what I'm saying? I mean, so we're going Shellie style here. We're going to do Shellie's heel, and I'm going to film that for you, and then I'll proceed with the rest of the sock. But it being on Magic Loop, we're going to get a better view for you. And so you can be looking forward to that in the near future, that finally I do that. But I said a whole lot of negative, and I have to say this designer did a beautiful sock. It's a beautiful sock, but you know what? Sometimes there's just not good patterns. That's all I'm going to say. And you don't hear me say things like that too much because I don't want to say a negative thing about anything. I think that they did a good job of doing the color work and putting it all together. They needed to write better directions for this sock and put better information, and they needed to put other sizes other than the biggest sock out there. You know, I can make those adjustments, but like you may not be able to. And like, I think about my friend Jen Nasca. She's got the cutest little feet. And if Jen was knitting these socks, she would need to do an extra small or small. Okay, so like a 64 stitch is a medium sock. So like, if she was not aware of how to make adjustments, like how do you do that? Don't leave your knitter friends out in the dark, knit designer. Anyway, it's going to be a cute sock. It's going to be my way, and you're going to get a heel video. You're welcome. Be looking for that in the near future. Okay, anyway, I really rambled on. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to show you this. So this is my sock bag, and Laughing Stitches. Can you please make project bags again? I love her. She just look at the bag. It's the socks. It came this way. She made the best knitting bags. She's a cross stitcher. And anyway, I also have this. This is a double point needle holder. If you've never seen one of these are really cool. Let me show you. Even though this is not on double points, what you can do to protect is you just take it, your sock top, stick it in there and stick your needles past the snap, and then give it a snap, and then come to the other side. This will work with double pointed needles, 9-inch needles, and you tuck it up in there, and it keeps everything tucked up in there, and protected where your stitches are. So you can do this with these double pointed needle holders. You can do this with and I will show you when you're sticking it in there where your top stitches are. Stick those in first, and then come snap, stick your needles in there, snap, and then it's protected, and hopefully nothing falls off. And so I do love those, and the sheepies match my sheepy bag. Isn't that cute? So anyway, but she made this too. So Laughing Stitches, I love your bags still. Please make more bags. I get on your Etsy account all the time to see if you do. So she just makes a gorgeous bag. Okay, that's all the stitching stuff. Now I have some stash enhancements. My, hold on, I dropped something. Oh, it's the thread, the fabric card for one of my pieces. Let me put this away so when I'm talking about it later on, I can tell you what the fabric is and not forget. Okay, my trunk show just was at Celebration of Needlework in New Hampshire, and it arrived back, and Kelly Rivers from Old Colonial Boxes, she is one of the coordinators, her and her mother, for the event. And I had said to Kelly, hey, you know, Julia Manfredini has a class going on up there. Of course, I couldn't attend the event because I couldn't make it up there, but she did a new doll for the event, and it's called Amelia, and it's got clovers on it. And isn't it gorgeous? Look at her. Look at the shamrocks. If you've been watching for a while, I've told the story about how my honey, the way that she quieted little children, she would say, now listen, I need you to go outside and look for 4-leaf clovers. And my family Bible's riddled with them. And so clovers I love them because I think about my honey when I was a little girl and going to visit the graves, and they would say we were going to visit family, and she would sit us down and we'd look for clover while they cleaned graves. And so for generations, the family Bible, my great-great-grandparents were married in 1894 on Christmas Day, and the Bible is from them. And for generations, people have been doing this, collecting 4-leaf clovers, and they're riddled throughout my Bible, my family Bible. And so I love clovers. And you know, I've looked for them my whole life. Funny thing, I've only found one in my whole life until yesterday. And I was out in the barnyard and I was walking around and I was praying, and I found 3 in one day. So I have found 4 in my entire life, and I never grow weary of looking for them because it makes me think about my family. But that is why I wanted this so much. And so I got the entire kit that was made up for the event. I was able to buy it because I had things being vended at there, and I even got this bag from the class from Julia Pugliantici, Julia Manfredini. She taught the class, and so I've added Amelia to my collection, and I'm sure that she will release her at some soon date, but it was at Celebration of Needlework and I was able to get that. I love her. And Amelia is spelled E-M-Y-L-I-A. How neat is that? So I have added this to my pin doll collection, and you know, I'm working on the one, and my friend Jen Ali from the Bougie Stitchers and I are stitching that one together, and we got those at market. And so I have a bag full of them, and they're my first ones that I just did start. I got them during the pandemic, my original couple, because the guild was doing a finishing class, and I got a couple through there. And so I finally started one, and Jen and I are doing that. And I think Amelia's going to have to be, she might have to be my next one, but I was so thrilled to get that. As well, I ordered from Hands Across the Sea Samplers from my sweet friend Nicola Parkman, the Queen of the May, and she came in, and I was so excited about her. She is absolutely beautiful. Elizabeth Stevenson, I love. Look at your swans down here. They're just so pretty. So pretty. Beautiful colors. So I need to kit that up. And while I was on the website, Nicola, I think I bought 4 each, but I don't know if you saw these beautiful panels that she did for project bags. Is Nicola not amazing? And she thinks of everything. Everything you need to make a project bag is on these panels. And so I ordered a couple of those from her while I was on there as well. I don't know if they're still on the website. Precious Works of Hand. Look at that. Everything. She thought of everything. I mean, everything Nicola puts her hand to is just absolutely stunning. So I ordered a couple panels of these to make project bags for myself. So I got those, and then I got the Queen of the May from Hands Across the Sea. And then my sweet friends Lorraine and Robin and Michelle, they call us the Royal Stitchers because we all love the hoops. So the antique hoops. They want to do a couple more stitch alongs. I don't know how good I'll be at these stitch alongs because, you know, I have so much model stitching and stuff. So, but they're patient. And so Threadwork Primitives Friendship Sampler, they wanted to start that. And so I got that in. I have yet to kit it, but I'm going to put that in. And then the Blackberry Rabbit Queen Bee. You know, because of the hoops, the Royal Stitchers. It's so sweet. I was just like, where'd you come up with the name? So Robin came up with it, and she said, because we, you know. So anyway, these are going to be stitch alongs that I do with those three. I love those three girls. And then I bought Joy from Shakespeare's Peddler. It was a Nashville exclusive. I got it, and I got the DMCs for it. Teresa does such a beautiful job. I love everything that she does. So I got that in. And then another Teresa Vinette, Shakespeare's Peddler, was Kindness Makes Friends. Why, yes, it does. And kindness, you know, is the mantra of my heart. Be kind to one another. My very first be ye was be ye kind. And I got the DMCs and the fancy flosses to stitch Kindness Makes Friends. It's beautiful. I love the border. I mean, that border is the cat's meow. It's kind of really cool. So I got that. And then a few things that are not cross-stitch related. I got my Sew Sampler box from Fat Quarter Shop, which you know I love so much. And the May box, the theme is Cottage Garden. And in it, you got some A Bloom fabric by Corey Yoder, Coriander Quilts, Coriander Quilts. Corydales are sheep. Sheep on my mind. So you got some fabric, and then these premium woven labels, very cool. And these are Mini Kim labels. And then a little book called Quilt Notes, and it's a Karen K. Buckley little. And it's so that you can maybe work some quilt patterns out yourself or take some notes. But inside the front cover is the standard mattress size, standard quilt size, standard batting size, and fun square facts, which was very neat. It's a very good resource. And then there was some panels, all A Bloom panels that came along with this. Very neat. And then we got, this size is exclusive to Fat Quarter Shop. They call it a Jolly Bar. And so this Jolly Bar, they sent a Jolly Bar A Bloom collection Walk This Way quilt pattern to use with this, as well as I want to try to pronounce, Gateau. I don't know if that's how you say that. It's okay. I'm just a country girl. Another quilt pattern. And then another installment, block number 2 of their flowering quilt along. So they do these for months at a time. This is so neat. So you got 3 quilt patterns, a panel. Again, I brag all the time about the Sew Sampler box. Kimberly keeps you busy once a month, sends you the neatest stuff. So that is my Sew Sampler box. I love this. I'm never not going to get this box. And then on my social medias recently, I showed a quilt pattern, or a sock pattern that had chickens all over it. And I had purchased that pattern, and it was by Charlotte Stone. You can find her on the socials as Stone Knits, S-T-O-N-E Knits. Well, she's written a couple books, and this is the Joy of Color Work Socks. Would you look at this? Let me see. I think there's a page with all the patterns that are in the book here. But I love color work. This is her right here. And let's see. There's a page with all the socks. Oh, here's all the socks that you can find in this book. So just a book full of socks, but she had a new one, another one, and this is Charming Color Work Socks. Look at those flowers. I love them. And so there was a page in here. Look at all these socks. Oh, look at that. Just, there's 25 sock patterns in here. You cannot go wrong. There's 25 in each of these books. And it's by Charlotte Stone, creator of Stone Knits, Charming Color Work Socks and Joyful Color Work Socks. You can get both of these books on Amazon. You're welcome. Go get you some of that. But you got to get on her, but you have to, I think it's only a Ravelry download to get the chicken socks, but I'm going to knit those chicken socks. And then I got another knitting book, and it's called Mosaic Knitting Workshop. I love Mosaic's knitting. This is color work, but it's done differently. It used to be called slip stitch knitting, and it's the neatest thing. You go along one row and you slip some stitches instead of knitting them, and then you do the same on the next row, because you knit the knit stitches and purl the purl stitches. You don't even need to look at the pattern for the 2-row repeat. And then as it goes, it does color work. And so if you've ever been afraid to do color work, it's the easiest way to do. But there was a set of dish towels and dish rags in there, and I had seen that pattern, and this has got several patterns you can see in here. But I bought the book because I love slip stitch knitting, which is mosaic knitting. There's mosaic crocheting, and it's done the same way, but in crochet style. And I bought this book because I really wanted that pattern as well. Look at this scarf. Very pretty. And so I bought that for that. And that's all my haul. And hey, I've hit the bottom of the pile. So I've got to the end. Wow. So yeah, I did that in under an hour and a half, I think. So that was pretty quick tonight. But anyway, so those are all the things that I've done. And those are the things I've bought, all the things I've received. And that's all the stitching I've done in whatever form I did it in. My upcoming plans is in less than T-minus a week, maybe, let's see, no, a week and a few days, Carrie will be here. I'm so excited. I miss her so much. She didn't get to go to Hobby House. And she didn't get to go to, she didn't go to Hobby House because her kids were having their ring ceremonies. She didn't go to Prairie Moon that she was supposed to go to because she had surgery. So I'm in bad need of seeing my bestie. And so I'm so excited. She's going to come a few days before StitchCon, and I cannot wait. And Lady Huzzah Presents, Lisa Duffin is coming as well, and they're both staying here at my house. And on Wednesday prior to, we have 2 friends coming, Jen Nasca and Holly Neal from Hobbies of Holly, and we're going to have a stitch day, just us girls here before StitchCon starts, and so I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be at StitchCon Weekend A. My trunk show will be there at Weekend A and Weekend B, and just a little FYI for any of you guys going to StitchCon for Weekend A or Weekend B, I did make a basket for the auction, an Antique Needleworkers basket, and I made the same basket for Weekend A and Weekend B. I will tell you that my basket has all of the current BEs in it, but I put a princess hoop in both baskets. So when Barbara does the auction, for all of you attendees, that's what you can expect from an Antique Needleworkers basket. There's other things as well, but those were the highlights of my basket. It wouldn't be Antique Needleworkers basket without an antique hoop, now would it? So there is a princess hoop in each of those baskets and the whole entire BE collection that is up to date. And so I am looking forward to that. It'll be my first trunk show at StitchCon. So I'm excited that my patterns and my trunk show will be in the annex. I'm looking forward to seeing all my friends and seeing you, my friends, that will be attending. And then at the end of June, beginning of July sometime, depending on what's going on, my husband's, he built onto his big garage. And so if everything's not wrapped up, that'll adjudicate when we leave, but we'll be going to the Florida house for about a month. Looking forward to that. And but yeah, that, and just designing, and I have a new release that will be coming out in about a week, and I'm super excited about it. And I not only will have all the things like I did for Be Ye Brave. I thank you so much, all of you who ordered Be Ye Brave. And I had thread, I had fabric, I had pins, I had the chart. I'm doing that again with the next release. You guys really, really ate that up. But you know, I think that I like to one-stop shop too. So I'm going to do that with the next release. But I didn't just create the pattern and get all the things to go with that pattern. I actually created an accompanying chart to go with it, and I'm going to put it, it's high time that I have another free pattern on my website, right? Because there's just the one freebie there. And I'll tell you how it was born. I wanted to make, I'm not showing you anything today, okay? I'm just telling you. But I wanted to make a gift for Carrie. And so the next release, I absolutely loved it. And the colors are so pretty. And they're so, I did it in silks. It's such pretty colors, and it reminded me of Carrie. And so I made an accompanying chart to the release that's coming out that's going to come to you for free. And all you do is get on the website when it comes out. And so it pairs exactly with the next new release. If you get threads for the new release, you'll have enough to do that. And so I'm really excited about that. So that's a twofer. You will be able to get the new release and a accompanying piece for free. And there will be silks and DMCs. So if silks are not in your budget, I did get DMCs too. And so that should be coming out in about a week and a half. And I'm excited to share that with you. I just finished up stitching the next BE. So I had already done all of the charting and all that, but I got the stitching done for the next BE. I'm probably going to let that loose somewhere towards the beginning of July. And so, but just moving ahead and just continuing to work on things. I'm excited. I'm looking at my year ahead and plans, and I've already got stuff that is being stitched and prepared for market for next year, and upcoming releases. And that's all the things that are my plans. So I'm working for you and getting things together to share with you, my friends, and gonna be at retreat with my sweet friends and get to see a lot of you. If you're coming to StitchCon Weekend Day, please come up and hug my neck. I do hope that you'll stop by and introduce yourself. I love to meet each and every one of you. But for now, I think that will do it. That will conclude my video for today. I've really enjoyed visiting you, and I should be back. And, you know, I think that all of us girls are going to try to film when we have our lunch date together. So maybe in about a week and a half, you'll see one, and there will be a bunch of us on here. Wouldn't that be fun? But in the meantime, do like and subscribe, and I thank you for joining me again. And until I see you again, I wish you many happy stitches. Bye-bye now, my friends.